この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Princess Tutu episode 12, and we shall see if we decide. It'll depend, we'll figure it out. I don't know if this is like a two-part finale thing or anything. I just know that episode 13 is the mid-season finale and a lot of people are excited for it. So I will just say this at the very beginning so that there's no confusion. I'm open to the possibility of watching episode 13 as well today. I'm not sold on it. We'll see at the end of 12 and discussing 12 how we feel. And if we get cliffhanged into it, we're probably just going to fucking watch it. So if you already know that there's a cliffhanger at the end of episode 12, well, I'm going to find out in like 20 minutes. And then we'll probably watch the next episode. We'll see. But let's take a step back and talk about last week's episode. Last week's episode began with a cautionary tale taken as a very, very abridging of La Sylphide, a bit of a cautionary tale about clinging too tightly to the things that you desire. And upon reflection and upon rewatching episode 11 earlier this morning, which I did, I think that this little story applies most effectively as an analytical tool when we're looking at Rue's part in the last episode, as she is the individual whose object of her affections, Muto, has the potential to escape her grasp, and so she gives him a cursed object to keep him by her side at all times, which doesn't work out super well, but works out well enough because she rips the shard of fucking love out of his fucking chest, and it all goes really bad. That kind of skipped around from the beginning of the episode to the very end of the episode, but they're interrelated, so who cares? So some other things in the previous episode, Fakir knows. Also Fakir knows. Also, did I mention that Fakir knows and it's amazing? It's not really amazing right now. They're kind of still at each other's throats, but I get the feeling they're gonna figure their shit out. Ahiru as Chuchu has been continuously acting in the best interests as she sees them of Muto and Fakir and everybody else, so they'll figure their shit out probably. There was some talk about presence and trying to figure out how people feel, which is, of course, dangerous territory around Chuchu herself, because if she reveals how she feels, she dies, ostensibly. And a deep-seated identity struggle for Rue as she slowly concedes more of herself to the Raven inside her. Yay! And becomes the villain of the story that she was always meant to be. Speaking of things that people were meant to be, Drosselmeyer is becoming more and more insistent and more active in the role that he takes in the various stories of this story, mostly attempting to ensure that everybody continues to play out the roles that he's assigned them, whether or not they want to, whether or not those roles actually fit what they want to do, etc. He just wants his characters to act as actors on his stage and make a performance. He really doesn't care about hurting them. He has seemingly no moral compunctions at all. Just wants the heroes to be heroes and the knights to be knights and the princesses to be damsels, and it'll all make sense, and villains have to be villains, which I think is the most interesting part, because Rue, as Rue's part of Rue, is a bit of an unwilling villain, and that's not something that we necessarily see very often. More often we see like an ideological clash, or a villain who's not actually villainous in their own mind, but has particular ideals that set them on an inevitable collision course with the hero. In this case, like, the part of Rue that isn't Rue is fucking villainous, and the part of Rue that is Rue knows it and doesn't want it, but accepts it because it's a means to her ends, mostly Muto. That's pretty interesting as, like, an element of this, because, well, we have an unwilling villain who seems to know what she's getting into, and then we have a willing but naive hero or heroine, who wants to do it, but has no idea what she's getting into. And that creates a really interesting little conflict there, because it functions on so many different little levels and stuff, and I think that's pretty cool. Anyway, I just had that thought, and I think that's neat. There was a gem of love that Adel gave to people. She was gifted it by somebody who I didn't recognize was obviously a bear paw on a bear lady. I don't know if that's gonna be a character. Seemed like a random occurrence that was maybe too random. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see bear character around at some point in the future, but I'd also not be surprised if we never see them again. And it was just like, oh, there's a gem. And then we also had some really fantastic scenes of Tutu or as Ahiru and Fakir sort of interacting and setting up boundaries, let's say. That's not really what they were doing, but that's kind of how it ended up working. Fakir's going to do everything he can to protect the prince, and Tutu tentatively takes steps towards making some kind of alliance with him, and he's like, nope. But I'm sure that will change in the future, too, considering that we have a genuine fucking villain to deal with who just stole our prince. Yeah, we probably need to deal with that. So, what the fuck happens now? Carrera has just taken the prince and the shard of love and, like, everything, and, chained Tutu in horrifying tentacle, thorn things, and Fakir's fucked, and everything's fucked, and so I really don't know. I think that's probably the part where Fakir and Ahiru need to start to settle their differences, and just determine that, like, hey, whether we want to shatter the prince's heart, or protect the prince, or prevent the prince's heart from being shattered, none of that matters one whit if we don't get him the fuck back, because this crazy crow bitch has him, and I don't want to know what she's gonna do with those thorny tentacles. Just, no thanks. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm also hoping for more Drosselmeyer. Anything Drosselmeyer. Anything. Any Drosselmeyer would be great. And any more backstory on Rue or more struggle within Rue would be really cool to see. I'd like to get a really more of a clear understanding of how her mind or minds are working right now, because it seems really interesting to me. Beyond that, I want Fakir and Tutu to reconcile a little bit, at least enough for a tentative alliance in the present to go after this shit and save fucking Muto, the now damsel in distress. That's their job, you know? So they gotta do it. Okay. That's basically everything in the last episode. Not at all. There's like so much in the last episode. It's insane. Let's watch the next episode, which is episode 12, and we'll see where this tale takes us. Okay, I've got episode 12 of Princess Choo-Choo up and ready to go. I think it's still on the English audio track. It is. I need to switch that, and it switched. Okay, we're set. I've got episode 12 of Princess Choo-Choo up and ready to go. It is sitting at 0 seconds. There will be 2 versions of this reaction. You can find a picture-in-picture version with the video up there, linked in the describbledy-doobledy-doo, and a timer-based version up on YouTube. If you want to do a syncy thing, sync up your own copy with the timer-based version, you're welcome to do so. Just get your copy ready, because the beep-beep timer to count you down will be coming at you right now. What do we start with? A handsome slave. I wonder if that's Muto, considering the thorns wrapped around a fucking sword. Yeah, that's Muto. Oh, that's a puppet. Seems like a healthy relationship. I mean, in the case of Choo-Choo, the answer is both, and definitely Rue. In this case, the princess. I'm really interested in the white swan and the black swan both swimming toward the sword of the prince. Seems like we might be getting some of those more overt Swan Lake references soon. At least I wouldn't be surprised. But it's also like they're the same. Because they are the same. Just like what I was saying about how, like, Tutu is a naive hero, Rue is a villain who understands but doesn't want to be. Both of them are the same. They're both forced into roles like Odile and Odette. I'm gonna have to read fucking Swan Lake's synopsis again. I can do that. All right, what do we got? What's happening? We starting with Rue. The room formerly owned by Rue. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that flower's wilting. Hey, buddy. Feeling a little bruised? Slightly battered? Got a few peck marks? Fuck you, no. Yeah. Damn right she did. Damn right she did. This is set up like ballet. Fair enough. You should. Yeah, obviously. Yeah! Exactly what I wanted. You show me. Do it. Yeah! I don't know if I like that title very much. Sounds pretty bad. Hello. I don't want to. Oh, no. It usually works the other way, Rue. I mean, she is pretty dominant in the relationship, so. Oh, boy. Hontoni. Hontoni. Haha. It's not real, though. Ooh. Well, you tighten this muscle, and it goes like this. Oh, you fucked up everything. I see. Oh. Oh. Mm-mm. No. Oh, okay, let's not go down that road. We're going down that road. Yep. Okay. What? Did she just... Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's a gambit. Rue, what the fuck are you pulling? Swan Lake, huh? Brain splode. Brain splode. Brains on walls. We gonna spend some quality time together? Ahiru and Fakir? That's an interesting way of thinking of things. It's very surprisingly optimistic. Usually is. Oh. That was very cute. I I would like to live for more of that cuteness. Continue being good to each other. Ah. Doubt. Doubt. Oh, hey. Uh-oh. You're gonna get fucking married. It's like a fucking cat toy. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Marriage. Okay, then. What? This is bait. This is bait. This is bait. This is fucking bait. Yeah. Yeah. What the puppet? Puppet. He's moving like a puppet. Yeah, that's your tail. Muto, stop it. You're really creepy, dude. Wow, that's gorgeous. Uh-huh. No, nothing at all. A little bit. Hmm. You don't know that. The story hasn't ended. Oh, fuck. That's a lot worse than I thought it was. Well, yeah. Oh. But Choo-Choo has the potential to realize that that isn't fucking Rue. Something the prince left behind? The sword? Yeah, the sword. Yeah, bait. Bait! That's bait. Oh, hi, Adel. Nice timing. Okay. Huh? Okay. Sure, Adel. We'll follow you. Oh, I wonder what that gem is. Okay. Okay. Are we gonna get teleported somewhere or something? Yeah, no. Yep. Wow, she's fully revealing it. Is she allowed to do that? Well then. This strikes me as important. Yeah. Extraordinarily important. Adel will remember this. I'm really interested in that. I am wondering if Adel is key. Because that was something. Woto. Yeah. And watch where you're walking. Gruff but protective. Watch where you're walking, you idiot. Nice. You know, competent. Okay, that looks like the place where we're headed, doesn't it? Okay, buddy, okay. Sure, sure. Yes, yes. You do that. Seriously, I'm with you on this one, Fakir. Indeed. Ima wa tashi nani? Hello, crows. We're not going to be able to finish that conversation. Can we choo-choo? A lot of things just happened really quickly. Oh, we found the lake. What is this place? Oh, well, yeah, exactly. What'd you find? You'd have to reveal yourself. Just tell him! Just tell him! He loves ducks! He loves ducks! It's a huge responsibility and a huge amount of faith and trust. And as soon as it leaves her hand, glimmer, glimmer, duckified. Quack, 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 quack. Quack. Yeah, dude at the end is definitely flockier. Quack. I mean, it is my name. Wait. What he just said. Yeah, you've revealed your deepest secrets to this girl. Uh-huh. And she accepts you for them. Uh-huh. It's almost like that's okay. Oh, buddy, don't... Yes, they are air breathing. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Very fair. Trust, dude. Trust. Faith. Aw. There we go. Give her the pendant. Yeah, give me my fucking necklace back. Spring! Oh, whoop! Yeah. Woto, I am naked. That is glorious. What? Wonderful. A lake, eh? Hmm. Oh. But Tutu. An unfinished thread. Oh. Oh. That's true. These conversations are so powerful for these two characters. Of course. Oh shit. That was in the OP. Oh shit. Yeah, you want to get close, you're gonna have to fight for it. Dance battle. Huh. Oh boy. Oh boy. She can't. She can't. Fuck, Rue. And Drosselmeyer isn't even a good enough writer to have planned for that shit. Fucking idiot. His own character coming into autonomy made his story better. This is insanity. No, nope, nope, because that's the finale. Nope, no spoilers. Okay. Wow. Wow. Also, wow. I think there are immediately 3 huge wow moments that jump out at me in this episode. Let me write them down so that I don't forget them immediately, because I will do that. Okay. Number 1, Herr Drosselmeyer. I think this one's probably the most obvious standout. No character has ever addressed Drosselmeyer, except, Ahiru, but he initiated it always. No character has ever just looked up at the sky and been like, hey God, I know you're watching. This is amazing. It shows Rue's canniness. It shows Crera's canniness. Their understanding of the nature of this world. An understanding that comes from probably the books that they've read. She also shows an understanding of Drosselmeyer that seems almost out of place, that he's desperate for stories, because her manipulation is pitch perfect for everything that we know about Drosselmeyer, but there aren't things that necessarily she would know about Drosselmeyer, unless she has some information that we're not privy to. I don't know. Regardless, she manipulates Drosselmeyer. The puppet becomes the puppet master. So we talked a bunch in the intro about Rue's role as villain and how she's kind of vacillating on it. She wavers constantly and then doubles down every time, but always after wavering. She doesn't really want this part that she's been assigned. She says it a little bit earlier when, here, if you hadn't begun to regain your heart, everything would have gone well, and I wouldn't have had to remember that I was a crow. This is a dramatic difference between her and Ahiru. Rue doesn't want her secret persona, her power, her other self. She doesn't want that. She would have been perfectly content now that she's in a different place. She would have been perfectly content just being with Muto and not remembering that she was a crow. But now that she has, she's going to double down, and so she does. But the key thing is, Rue doesn't like the part that she's been assigned to play. She doesn't love the hand that's been dealt her, and so she goes to the motherfucking dealer, and she asks for another hand, and she baits him and bribes him with the one thing that he wants more than anything. The best story, the best ending, an ending that she says only she can give him. Now, he doesn't really care, but if the opportunity for a better ending presents itself, you better be damn sure Drosselmeyer's going to jump on it. And what could be better than a perfectly set stage and a villain embracing their role and the plucky heroes arriving and battling it out? It's perfect. And so it works. Beautiful. Glorious. And I'd say that this episode is in many ways all about roles. So, Herr Drosselmeyer, That's the first scene. Second scene. This one's a little bit simpler to get through. Ahiru's a duck. Ahiru is Ahiru. She actually finally revealed all the shit. Now there are, as far as we know, essentially no secrets between her and Fakir, which is fan-fucking-tastic. On a kind of a side note, the comedy of this whole segment is fantastic. The judicious use of blushing and just the sequence where the nude Ahiru suddenly realizes her predicament and her entire body head to toe just turns bright red. Wonderful. Fakir being kind of gentlemanly and like blushing like crazy while looking away and like handing out the clothes is also wonderful and super wholesome. This particular scene is it's just fantastic. It's just fantastic. I don't know why I'm Sean Connery right now. This is the third one, and I don't know if this means what I think it means, but I have a theory about this, and I'm going to present it to you. So, this wasn't a pendant for her to become Tutu? Now we need to go to episode 1. It's actually episode 2 that I wanted. I forgot that episode 1 keeps a lot of this in the dark. Drosselmeyer's wording is very specific here. If you have the resolve, I'll turn you into a girl once more. I think my theory is right. So here, I will present it now. So this isn't a pendant for turning into Tutu. It is a pendant for turning into a human girl. Theory. The power to become Tutu has been inside Ahiru all along, and I think it has something to do with purity. I also think it has something to do with the vagueness of Princess Tutu's part in the Prince Unrabe. That it was left open, and thus any character or any individual in reality as we see it could step into the role of Princess Tutu, assuming that she had the requisite purity, let's say. Which means, or implies, that she could become Tutu without Drosselmeyer's influence, without the necklace. Maybe. And if so, that could be a very valuable thing to do or to know, if the power is within her. Now, there's a little something else that makes me think along those lines, and I'm really not sure on this one, because this one's a stretch. Because we always start this sequence with the pendant fading into this glowing light, but when she emerges from the thing, the glow emanates from within her and then manifests into the form of the pendant. Makes me wonder if the power is within her. And if so, what is the pendant for? I guess just to become a girl. That makes sense. It's interesting to me, though, because I feel like we've been intentionally misled to believe and associate the pendant with her tutu-ness. For two reasons. One, that's classic Maho shoujo stuff. Having a trinket that allows your transformation, a henshin item, is like the classic, the standard. And generally it's a plot point that if you don't have the henshin item, you can't henshin. But then also, like every time that she's in episode 1 when she runs toward Muto as he's jumping off the balcony, we have the camera focus on the pendant before she transforms. Almost every time that happens, we focus on the pendant before it transforms, and then the pendant glows when a heart shard is nearby. It's interesting. I don't know. We'll see if that ever comes into play. The potential not needing of the pendant. We'll see. Those are the 3 scenes that stand out the most to me. There's one other scene that's extraordinarily interesting, and from a character perspective, I think absolutely wonderful, and that's at about 15 minutes. This sequence where Ahiru explains, and more importantly, starts working out to herself her feelings toward Muto. Not just what they are, but why do I feel the way that I feel toward him? Now, her answers are all true. They all make sense. But what I care about here is that we have our character asking a question that doesn't fit her archetype, right? Regardless of whether we view her as the archetypal prince who saves the damsel in distress, which is the role that Muto has now been put into, or if we see her as the archetypal heroine who is head over heels for her love, the object of her affections, regardless of anything else. Either way, she should not be asking questions about why. What is my motivation for loving this character? She shouldn't be asking that question. She should just do it, right? This is stepping outside of the role that's provided for her, but more importantly, this is showing development for Ahiru. Her core motivation up until this point has been save Muto from something. Now she's asking, why do I care about Muto in the first place? And I think that's fan-fucking-tastic. I also think that it's really interesting that she's questioning her love for another character not long after expressing her love for Adel, despite Adel's insistence that she is not responsible for any of the things that she did in her role, right? Like, I'm not actually responsible for all the help that I gave you. It wasn't really help. It was kind of guiding you on a specific direction. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But Ahiru persists. She loves her. Thank you. We'll be going now. So she expresses her love for a puppet, for an automaton, and then questions her love for Muto. Although he is pretty much a puppet at this point, considering that he doesn't seem to have any fucking anything going on behind those eyes. On a separate but related note, I have a vibe about this scene. This feels like setup. This feels like episode 22, Adel's gonna, like, open up her fucking doll hand arm, and it's gonna be a gigantic cannon, and she's gonna shoot dead Drosselmeyer deader, or something. Adel just bonded with Ahiru in a way that she's not supposed to, and that Drosselmeyer is aware of, but a way that she's not supposed to, and I think that might lead into really interesting directions. Because if Adel ends up being a little bit of a double agent for Dross, and the power that those gemstones she seems to walk around with actually exists, she could play a huge role in altering this story. But as Drosselmeyer says, that's outside of her role. Her role is just to give it a little bit of glow. And I don't really know what the hell he means by that. I assume he just means, like, a bit of flourish, a bit of the fantastical. Not that there isn't enough fantastical, what with animal characters and stuff all over the place. Okay. I know I'm jumping all over the place in this episode, but it's an episode that needs jumping around. This. Now, obviously, this is the location of the final battle, which we saw at the end of the episode. There's something about this, though. Something symmetrical, let's say? The black swan and the white swan. Both playing parts. Both playing roles. Both with issues playing those roles. Who wins? I don't know if it goes that way. I don't know if it ends that simply. I feel like it's going to end up more complicated than that. I mean, considering that there are another 13 episodes, it very well might. I don't know. Okay, let's skim the episode because there are so many jam-packed awesome things in this episode. This opening sequence, specifically Ahiru's position, the way she's on the floor, and then like half laying on the bed. I swear to God, I've seen like the opening of a scene of a ballet that starts with the female lead in this position. I swear it. I swear that we're doing a thing here. I just don't know enough about ballet to know. If you do, let me know. But But then we frame it like this, and there's something to this framing. The guiding line of like light and shadow down here, the big obscuring tablecloth and table up here, the general vibe of it all is really interesting. All right, and this is our starting point for the episode, and our relationship between Fakir and Ahiru changes dramatically in one of the like best episodes of a relationship between characters changes over the course of this episode. I don't know if that expresses what I'm trying to express, but like it feels to me like in a lot of shows or a lot of writing in general, when people when the author feels like they need to do a character development or do a relationship development, they'll do something like big and like bombastic, like Ahiru and Fakir need to trust each other. They end up trapped in a garbage compactor, and there's an evil monster tentacle thing with a camera eye on it, and they're all gonna die, right? And then they end up trusting each other afterward because they got out of this stressful situation together and they've formed a bond. That's Star Wars, by the way. Just, that's the element of that story, and that's what it does, right? They all end up in the garbage compactor, and then once they get out, it's like, all right, yeah, we could work together. This episode decides to do something different. It puts them on an adventure together, a dangerous adventure, presumably, but there's no danger. We don't face any. The most dangerous thing we face is a little swim. So what do we get instead? Conversation. Chatting. Just talking. And sharing space. Sharing frame on camera. It's important. It matters. It cements a bond between them. And just doing stuff. Achieving a goal together. Simple things, but they're the things that create real relationships. And so when they're demonstrated by fictional characters, their relationship feels more real. I'm going to make a mental note of this particular episode because it's fantastic at its job. And a lot of shows don't do this as well. And I want it in the back of my head as a comparison point. Because I cannot count the number of times that I have seen an episode that is clearly intended to create the requisite relationship development between two characters and kind of doesn't, or does it in a shortcutty type of way, and this episode takes no shortcuts. It's a little journey, a little adventure, a little struggle together, and it's perfect. Fakir okay, what's our starting point? Fakir is kind of resentful and unwilling to cooperate and all that jazz. He also, at least a little bit later, once we see how clumsy Ahiru is, he also kind of thinks this Tutu lady is kind of fucking useless. Like, seriously? What happens by the end? Well, more understanding on both ends. For Fakir, an understanding that this person is really a person who has her own motivations and genuinely cares about Muto, though she is questioning why, and that's a valuable thing. She's also clumsy and goofy and hilarious. She's also adventurous and willing to do what it takes, like reveal her duck nature and go on a swim that could have killed her. She's a goofball, but she's a really brave goofball. And a really positive and optimistic goofball, too. And that's pretty wonderful. And then there's Rue and the corpse of Muto without a soul inside it, essentially, laying in a gigantic bed of raven feathers, because that seems comfy. And yeah, just be my puppet. Love only me. I love only you. You are the object of my desire. You are the apple of my eye. Yes, I love you, Rue. Nope. And the big nope is right here. Can't. He's not capable of love, and you know it. You took it away from him. Because he couldn't stomach the idea that it wouldn't be directed toward you. But in doing so, you prevent yourself from getting the one thing that you want, as villains so often do. Self-destructive behavior is part of the deal. And she has taken the deal. And she's doubled down. She's raised. If you love me, smile for me. How? What's a smile? Rue's side of the story is really quite heartbreaking. If we view her as a character who has been overcome by a force that she cannot control and is being used, her weakness is manipulated, because that's exactly what it is. The thing that opens the door to Clara is her desperate desire to be loved. And by letting Clara in, she prevents that from ever happening. Dramatic irony. Drosselmeyer's favorite. Yay. All right, we're 4 minutes into the episode, and there's a lot of episode left. Yeah. And it's all that nuisance's fault. Okay, so then we address Drosselmeyer, set up the game. I'll tell you the best story ever, and set up a worthy stage. A lake that no one has visited in 200 years. At this point, I'm going to have to pause the discussion and go read the synopsis of Swan Lake, as well as find the date that Swan Lake was written / whatever. Okay, Swan Lake isn't 200 years ago. That's one of the important things that I was looking for. Okay, I don't really know. I'm just gonna keep an eye out for people choosing to die by leaping into lakes, and anything that associates Drosselmeyer with Rothbart. Yeah, something like that. Okay, cool. Then we get into the meat of the episode, which is essentially Fakir and Choo-Choo go around trying to find a Fakir. I'm trying to find a Muto. I particularly love this little line from Fakir. He's not around. Of course he is. We just haven't been able to find him. This is such a little cute thing, and it's so out of place for the character known as Fakir. It's not out of place for Fakir, it's out of place for the character that Fakir puts on, the persona that he's been for the last 12 episodes, right? It's like the kind of answer that you would get from a wise old man character, or like Yaobi Kunio in Tamako Market, or something like that. It's got this like deep wisdom to this line. He's around. We just haven't been able to find him yet. It's so perfectly optimistic, looking at things in a different perspective. And then there's also this stuff, which is also fantastic, even though none of it is ever stated why it's fantastic. Like, Ahiru's love for and care for and knowledge of Muto's habits and stuff is something that Fakir wasn't aware of. Fakir might not even be aware of how much Muto loves to dance, right? We don't know. And then eventually we agree. Nothing to lose, we might as well. And then we see Neko-sensei. And this is another kind of a fun adventure, hiding from the cat teacher. And it's also super cute because, like, Fakir realizes that her Ahoye is totally showing, and he's just like, he can see you, dude. And also the fact that it acts like a cat toy, and so of course he charges it uncontrollably. Just wonderful humorous writing, all the way scattered throughout all the episode. It's fantastic. Besides, the classic marriage joke, which is just, it's a thing. All right, so speaking of puppets and puppet masters, this doesn't feel like normal Muto at all. I initially was thinking that, like, well, Muto's pretty good at, like, moving his body. Maybe Ryu can just read him a script and, like, make him say it exactly the way that she wants him to, or something, and turn him into a puppet, because that would be nice and horrifying if he's just like, I am doing what I have been instructed. No, it's much worse. It's a fucking illusion made out of crows. Ugh. Oh, I don't like it at all. And what are the taunts? What kinds of things does Rue speaking through the mouth of Muto, what kinds of things does he say to them? Well, I said a little bit earlier that it's all about roles, right? He taunts them, or she taunts them, with their failings, with their uselessness, with the fact that their roles in the story don't go anywhere, with the fact that Fakir is fated to die serving his prince and fail, the fact that Tutu is fated to turn into a speck of light and fail. Both of them are impotent characters as written. Fakir can never achieve his dream of saving the prince and serving him honorably. Tutu can never achieve her dream of loving the prince, because if she does, she turns into a fucking speck of light. Which is some bullshit, by the way. This is the dramatic equivalent of just going, haha, you can't touch me. And it's perfect bait. Absolutely perfect. And this revelation hits hardest of all. The prince took his own heart out of his own body. So why would you be trying to get it back, you fool? You're not only useless, you're actively impeding the desires of the person you care about. A miserable existence that not even any of the characters in the story wanted to be. It's an interesting way of phrasing it. I would rephrase it. A noble existence that none of the characters in the story were brave enough to be. How about that? It's all about perspective, right? Insignificant and forsaken even by the story. But weren't they all forsaken by their stories? By Drosselmeyer's death? By the incompletion of all of them? And doesn't that mean that their fates are as yet entirely undecided because there is no ending? I don't know. And does that tie in with Ahiru's seeming ability to tutuify without a pendant gifted to her by Drosselmeyer? I don't know. I don't fucking know. But yeah, some crushing revelations. And also, Rue doesn't exist. And then we figure out that she's Clara, but we knew that. And sword. Let's rescue the prince. Okay, so we meet Adel, get taken to a place, get shown a thing, and express our love for Adel and our gratitude toward her. And I think this is going to be fucking important. But we'll see. So warm and so soft. And this will bring the ire of Drosselmeyer upon her almost certainly. Not knowing your place in the world is dangerous, you know. Indeed, indeed. Okay, so we wander around, and it's pretty great. I particularly love this little sequence. It's the first of many. We get kind of a montage of Ahiru tripping over herself a little bit later, but I particularly love this one, just because of how perfectly it plays this portion of their little relationship character arc in the episode. Fakir is still gruff and kind of like, I have to deal with this stupid girl. But he's also dealing with the stupid girl, right? He's doing that, like, it happens a lot in novels where, like, an older gruff male character is like, I guess I'll give you a ride. I guess I could put you up for the night, whatever. But he's actually, like, he's got a heart of gold, and he's like, okay, I'll protect this person. I'll help this person. And eventually, you know, dude sacrifices himself at the end of the book to save the probably, like, teenage age girl who is on the run or whatever. Happens all the fucking time. It's the same sort of scenario, and it's super cute, and I think the thing that sells it most is the little hesitation, this look, and then the blink into a little smile from Ahiru really sells the moment. It's like, he's kind of a dick, but he's alright. I really like it. It's progression, you know? And then this is just another sequence of utterly wonderfully goofy. Ahiru is the goofiest. And, you know, Fakir's like, I thought Princess Tutu is, like, good at stuff and, you know, formidable and competent. You don't strike me as any of those things. Okay, and then we hit it with the, by the way, oh, never mind, it's nothing. Ugh. Ugh. And then she says some things that she would only really know if she was also the duck person. And he expresses again that he'll help Muto in his own way. And that's all there is to it. Okay, buddy, okay. And then we stop. And then we talk about something really important. And I already focused on this sequence. Just thought that he was handsome, but then it was the loneliness in his eyes. So, bit of an I can fix him mentality, you know, just a little bit, just a little bit of those issues, but entirely pure motivations. I thought if I became Princess Chuchu, I could do something for him. And burps. And falling, and lake, and gotta find a way out. Find a way out. And we make a very, very important decision. Please hold on to this necklace for me. Yeah. And he gets to see. I love her little smile. Like, this little gleaming smile from her as she reveals the truth to someone, finally. Oh, that's gotta feel good. It's gotta feel like a weight off her little duck shoulders. And Fakir's whole slow tick, 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 revelation sequence is wonderful. And then his realizing that he has showed his vulnerabilities to this duck, and that this duck has seen him cry, and that Ahiru doesn't seem to have been treating him any differently because of that, is wonderful. His embarrassment and the fact that the show gives him some time to feel those feels for a little bit is fantastic. And I think it's just another layer on top of that real relationship building. It's like, she found out something about me that I wanted to keep hidden, and she didn't spurn me for it. That's pretty cool. Didn't think that would ever happen. Oh. She's kind of cool. She is. Okay, so the moment that he starts to waver in his trust in Ahiru and to jump in after her, poop, she appears and shows that she's got it all down. And then they yell back and forth, and it's pretty wonderful. And then the cutest is the best. We have a scene where we focus on the hands that they're holding a little bit, just a little something, you know. Okay, we're definitely making this Ahiru Fakir ship thing work, which makes me think that one of them's gonna die next episode. I don't really know, but we'll see. And then he reveals to her Muto's initial interest, not in himself, not in the Raven, but only in this little, forgotten side character with hardly a role to play. It's a very interesting thing for Fakir to tell her. It's an interesting thing for Muto to feel, but it's even more interesting as a thing for Fakir to tell her. It's a powerful thing that he's saying here. That Muto was the kind of person who cared about side characters. What other character do we know who, I don't know, in a recent episode has maybe shown dramatic care for an outcast side character whose role is severely limited over the course of the story? Oh, wait, we're talking about Ahiru expressing her care for Adel. The literal puppet. That's interesting. Kind of makes you wonder if the prince as the real prince could have gotten along with Ahiru. Seems like they might have been birds of a feather. Pun intended. Him coming to want to regain his heart is probably because it's Tutu who returns it to him. That's really interesting as well. Which came first, Muto's desire to reclaim his heart, or Tutu offering? Tutu offering to protect someone, to protect those who are small and weak. That is Muto's greatest wish. And there's deep fondness and admiration in the way that Fakir says these lines. It's in his VA.
That's the kind of guy he
Oh shit, that's the English.
そういうやつなんだ。誰かを小さくて弱いものを守る。それがミュートの一番の願いなんだ。
Yep. And for these reasons, Fakir serves. It's not stated, but it's clear. Just the kind of guy he is. And in their mutual respect for Muto, Ahiru gains respect for Fakir. All these little interactions build into Ahiru and Fakir can trust each other as they go into the final battle. I think that's fantastic. And here it is. The stage is set. The prize is waiting. The raven stands on high. And Drosselmeyer asks for the best story ever. So, a gambit has succeeded. A stage has been set. What comes next? Now we gamble for the life of everything, and for the core of this story. Whose words will it be drawn to once we've laid our hearts bare? And this is the final trick. How can it choose you if you can't even express your own love? And Drosselmeyer just cackles happily in the corner. Ooh, we're in it now. We're in it now. Okay. So, here we are at the end of episode 12, and we have a decision to make. I know which decision I'm going to make. Let me explain why. Because we just entered a new chamber. Because this episode was so damn good at the positive end of things, at creating from whole cloth almost a relationship between Fakir and Ahiru that I could not have dreamed of a few episodes ago. In setting up Rue as an unwilling villain who embraces her villainous side to get her goals, and then gambles with fucking God in order to make it all happen. Because of all of that stuff, and because we didn't start the battle, we're going to stop after this episode. If we had, gotten even a few lines further into the battle sequence and then cliffhanged, I wouldn't be able to stop. But I think this is a really good stopping point because I think that we've done a pretty solid job of analyzing this episode. I think that we've done a pretty okay job at parceling out what's of value here, what's important. And I will say again that I really like this episode. But it feels a little weird to jump straight from all of that positivity and encouraging feelings toward Fakir and Ahiru and then jump into the finale where I feel like some of those feelings are going to be crushed. That's my reasoning off the top of my head. I don't know. But we are going to stop here and we're going to look forward and just give the final battle, the final confrontation. I mean, the midway confrontation. Going to give it all the time that we can next Friday. So, for the present, I've been Teeaboo. This has been Princess Tutu, episode 12. I hope that you've enjoyed this one as much as I have, because as I've said multiple times, I really like this episode a lot. I keep saying that about a lot of Princess Tutu episodes, but this one is really true, I swear. From Ahiru questioning her own motivations to everybody questioning who's in the right, to the wonderful buildup of Fakir and Ahiru's not romantic feelings, but their feelings toward each other. From fuck this dude to oh fuck this dude. I'm kidding. To the creepy sequence of the bird-formed illusionary Muto baiting them with taunts about how useless they are in this story. How almost like, oh, your inevitable end is to come and die at the hands of Rue. To, I think, the pinnacle of it all. Rue just turning to the empty sky and addressing God. And not in prayer. Just like, hey, bud, let me make you an offer you can't refuse. Oh, I love it. It's so clever. It's so clever and so interesting. So now Rue will ghostwrite her own story, and we'll see where this ends up going. Will Ahiru be able to deal with this first challenge, this first test, this request to express her feelings? I don't know. I don't know. Or will she somehow deny her fate? Perhaps achieve glory. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out next time. All right, I'm gonna wrap. Me, Teeaboo. This Tutu. If I missed anything, throw it in the comments. I'll see you next week for more. Peace.